Lucia Alobis, BAFN. I am your reporter for Chapter 13, which is Account Receivable and Inventory Management. So, what is Account Receivable and Management? Account Receivable and Management, the process of monitoring and controlling money consumer owe it to a business for good or service purchased on credit. Although some sales are made of cash today, the vast majority of sales are on credit. So in typical situation, goods are shipped, inventories are reduced, and an account receivable is created. So account receivable consists of money owed to firms, goods or services sold on credit. So this type of credit basically take two forms. So first is trade commercial credit. So trade or commercial credit is a credit which the firms extend to other firms, and second, consumer or retail credit. So consumer or retail credit is a credit which the firms extend the final consumer. And now let's proceed the objectives of account receivable management. The goal of account receivable management to ensure the firm's investment in account receivable is appropriated and contribute the shareholder wealth maximization. So it is therefore the responsibility of the finance officer to evaluate the pertinent costs and benefit related to credit extension, to finance the firm's investment in account receivable, implement the firm's credit policy, and enforce collection. And next is credit policy. Credit policy is a set of guidelines for extending credits to consumers. So credit policy is the success or failure of a business depend primarily of demands for its products. As a rule, the higher its sales, the larger its profits, and the higher the value of stock. Sales in turn depend on a number of factors, some exogenous but other under the control of the firm. The major controllable variables which affect the demand are sales price, product quality, and advertising and the firm's credit policy. Credit policy is generally covers the following variables. First is credit standard, second is credit terms, third is collection policy, and lastly is delinquency and default. So, first we discuss the credit standard. Credit standard is refers to the minimum financial strength of acceptable credit consumer and the amount of available to different customer. Credit policy can have a significant influence upon sales. If credit policy is relaxed while sales may increase, the quality of account receivable may suffer. This may result into longer average collection period. An optimal credit policy would involve the extended trade credit more liberally until the marginal profitability on additional sales equal the required return and additional investment in receivable. Or it is trade-off between profits on sales that give rise to receivable on the hand and the cost of carrying these receivables plus bad debt losses on the other. Setting credits standard implicitly requires a measurement of credit quality, which is defined into term of probability of the consumer's default. The probability estimate for a given consumer is to the most part of subjective judgment. Nevertheless, credit evaluation is a well-established practice, and good credit manager can make reasonably accurate judgments of the probability of default by different classes of customers. To measure credit quality and consumer credit worthiness, the following areas are generally evaluated by characters, capacity, capital, collateral, and condition. So first is character. Character, which refers to the probability that the consumer will pay their debts or obligation. Credit report provides background information on people and firms, firm's past performance from a firm's banker, their other suppliers, their customers, and even their competitors. And second is capacity. Capacity, which is the judgment of consumers' abilities to pay. It is determined in part by the customer's past record and business method. It may be supplemented by a physical observation of their plants or stores. Against credit analysis will obtain judgmental information on this factor from a variety of sources. And third is capital. Capital is which is measured by the general financial condition of a firm is indicated by analysis of its financial statement. Special emphasize its given the rest ratios, the debt asset ratio, the current ratio, and the times interest earn ratio. And D is collateral. Collateral is which is represented by the asset that consumers may offer as security in order to obtain credit. And last is condition. Condition is which refers both to general economic trends and to special developments in certain geographic regions or sector of the economy that might affect customers' abilities to meet their obligation. So that's all the credit standard. And next is credit terms. Credit terms it involves both the length of the credit period and the discount given. So credit period is the length of time of buyers are given to pay for their purchase. Discount are price reduction for early payment. The discount specific with the percentage reduced is and when payment must be made to be eligible for the discount. So the terms of 2 out of 10 net is 30 meant that a 2% discount is given the bill is paid on the before the 10th day after the due of invoice. Payment is the due of the 13th day. The credit period then it's 30 days. Although the custom of this industry frequently dictate the terms given. The credit period is lengthened generally result to an increased product demand and vice versa. Next is collection policy. Collection policy is referred to the procedures that firms follow to collect past due accounts. For example, a letter may be sent to customer when a bill is deemed as past due. A more severe letter followed by a telephone call may be used if payment is not received within 30 days, and the account may turn over to a collection agency after 90 days. Credit analysis is instrumental in determining the amount of credit risk be accepted. In turn, the amount of risk accepted affect the slowness of receivables and resulting investment in receivable as well the amount of bad debt losses. Collection procedures affect these factors within a reasonable range. The greater the relative amount spent of collection procedures, the lower a proportion of bad debt losses and the shorter the average collection period. All other things remaining the same, so a balance must be struck between the costs and the benefits of different collection policies. Next is delinquency and default. Delinquency and default is whatever credit policies a business firm may adopt. There will be some customers who will delay and others who will default entirely, thereby increasing the total account receivable cost. Against the optimal credit policy that should be adopted is the one that provides the greatest marginal benefits. And now we proceed to the next topic, which is costs associated with investment and account receivable. So first is credit analysis accounting and collection costs. Second is capital costs. Third is delinquency costs. And third is default costs or bad debts. So first, we discuss the credit analysis, accounting, and collection costs. So if the firm is extending credits in anticipation of attracting more business, it incurs the cost of hiring a credit manager plus assistant and bookkeepers within the finance department of acquiring credit information sources and of generally maintaining and operating a credit and collection department. So second is capital cost. Capital cost is once the firm extends credit, it must raise funds in order to finance it. The interest to be paid if the funds are borrowed or the opportunity or of equity capital will constitute the cost of funds what will be tied up in the service up in the receivables. And third is delinquency cost. Delinquency cost is these costs are incurred when the customer is late in paying. This delay adds the collection cost above those associated with a normal collection. Delinquency also creates the opportunity cost for any additional time the funds are tied after the normal collection of period. And lastly is default costs or bad debts. So the firms incurs default costs when the customer fails to pay at all. In addition, the collection costs, capital costs, and delinquency costs incurred up to this point, the firm loses the cost of goods not paid for. It has to write off the entire sales once it decides the delinquent account has default and it's no longer collectible. And now we tackle about the summary of trade-offs in credit and collection policies. Shown below a summary of the cost-benefits relationship that will result upon application of factors affecting the credit and collection policies. So first, the trades-off, diba? First is relaxation of credit standard. The benefits is increase in sales and total contribution margin, and the cost is increase in credit processing costs, increase in collection costs, and higher default costs or bad debts, and lastly is high capital cost or opportunity cost. Second is lengthening of credit period. The benefit is increase in sales and total contribution margin, and the cost is higher capital cost or opportunity cost of higher investment and receivable. And third is granting cash discount. First, the benefit is increase in sales and total contribution margin, opportunity income on lower investment and receivable. Then a cost is lesser profit. Then last is intensified collection efforts, which is the benefit is lower default cost or bad debts and lower opportunity or cost or capital cost, and which is the cost is higher collection expenses and lower sales. And now we pursue the marginal or incremental analysis credit policies. So marginal analysis is a performed in terms of systematic comparison of the incremental returns and incremental costs resulting from a change in the firm's credit policy. Whenever the incremental or profit forms a proposed change in the management of account receivable exceed the required return or the incremental cost of the additional investment, the change should be implemented. All things being equal, the decision concerning the change in credit policy is made using the following rules. First, if the incremental profit contribution is greater than incremental cost, the result is the accept the change in the credit policy. And second, if the incremental profit contribution is less than incremental cost, the result is reject the change in credit policy. And lastly, if the incremental profit contribution is equal to incremental cost, the result is then the indifferent to the change in credit policy. Inventory management is important as it is difficult. Thus, necessity of forecasting sales before establishing target inventory level makes inventory management a difficult task. Furthermore, erroneous establishment of inventory levels could lead to either loss sales or to excessive carrying cost. So objectives of inventory management is to inventory as a stockpile of the productive product the firms is offering for sales and the components that make up the product. It is responsibility of financial officer maintains a sufficient amount of inventory to ensure the smooth operation of the firm's production and marketing function, and at the same time avoid tying up funds and excessive and slow moving inventory. Function of inventories. Inventories with the form of raw materials, parts and components, work in processes, or finished good may appropriately be considered as the lifeblood of the production or distribution system. Within the system of production and distribution, the following function and uses of inventories can be identified. First is pipeline or transit inventories. Second is organizational or decoupling inventories. Third is seasonal or anticipation stock. Fourth is batch or loss size inventories. And lastly is safety or buffer stock. So first we discuss the pipeline as transit inventories. Pipeline or transit inventories is these are inventories which are being moved or transported from one location to another, and they fill the supply pipeline between stages of the entire production distribution system. And second is organizational or decoupling inventories. These are inventories that are maintained to provide each link in the production distribution chain a certain degree of independence from the others. This will take care of random fluctuation in demand and or supply. And third is seasonal or anticipation stock. These are built up anticipation of the heavy selling season or in anticipation of price increase or as a part of promotional sales campaign. And next is batch or lot size inventories. These are inventories that they maintain whenever the user makes or buyers material in larger lots than are needed for his immediate purposes. And lastly is safety and buffer stock. This inventory are maintained to protect the company from uncertainties such as unexpected consumers' demand, delays in delivery of goods ordered, and etc. Next is cost associated with investment in inventory. So to provide the inventory is required to sustain operation at the lowest possible cost. It is necessary to identify all the costs involved acquiring and maintaining inventory. The following are generally costs associated with an inventories which could vary from firm to firm, from item to item, and also over time. So first is carrying cost. Carrying cost consists of cost of capital tied up in inventory, storage and handling costs, insurance, property taxes, depreciation and obsolescence, and administrative costs or accounting, etc. And second is ordering, shipping, and receiving costs, cost of placing orders, including production and setup costs, and shipping and handling costs. And lastly is cost of running short, loss of sales, loss of consumer goodwill, and the description of production schedules. Next is inventory management technique. So first is inventory planning. Inventory planning is involved to determine of what inventory quality, quantity, timing, and location should be in order to meet future business requirements. To approach the mathematical techniques that may be used in determining inventory, order size, timing, etc., or include EOQ model, recorder point, and in using the inventory economic order quantity, that following formulas are followed by economic order quantity or EOQ square root of 2 times annual demand in units times cost per units divide carrying cost per unit. First, para makuha ang total inventory cost is total ordering cost plus total carrying cost. And second, para makuha po ang total ordering cost is annual demand in units divide AOQ or order size times ordering cost per order. Next is total carrying cost. Para makuha ang total carrying cost is average inventory times carrying cost per unit. And last is average inventory equal AOQ or order size divide 2. And next formula is reorder point. Reorder point, para makuha niyo siya, is lead times usage plus safety stock. Next is level monitoring and inventory control system. Inventory control is the regulation of inventory within the predetermined limits. Effective inventory management should provide adequate stock to meet the requirements of the business, while at the same time keeping the required investment to a minimum. Various systems and techniques have been developed to provide effective control over inventories. Some of the more generally known inventory control system as followed by fixed order quality system, fixed order cycle system, optional replenishment system, and lastly is ABC classification system. So first, we discuss the fixed order quantity system. Fixed order quantity system. This is the system wherein each time the inventory goes down to a predetermined level known as the reorder point, or order to for a fixed quantity is placed. This system requires that use of perpetual inventory records of the continuous monitoring of inventory level. Example, the application of this type of control is two-bin system, under which reorder is placed when the content of the first bin are used up. Another approach used to determining the reorder point is by adding the average demand during the lead time and the buffer stock. Second is fixed reorder cycle system. This is also known the periodic review or the replacement system, where orders are made after review of inventory levels that has been done at regular intervals. An order is placed if at time of the review the inventory level has gone down since the preceding review. The quantity order under this system is variable depending on usage or determined or demand during the review period. Replenishment level is computed by the following formula, which is M is equal to B plus D times R plus L. So, where M is equal to replacement level in units and B is buffer stock in units, D is average demand per units per day. R is time interval in days between reviews, and L is lead time in days. Next is optional replenishment system. Optional replenishment system is this system is to represent a combination of the important control mechanism of the other two systems described above. Replacement level is computed by use the following equation, which is P equal B plus D times LTR divided 2. So where P is reorder point in units, B is buffer stock in unit, D is average daily demands in units, and L is lead in time in days, and R is time between review in days. Lastly is ABC classification system. ABC classification system is under the system segregation of materials where selective control is made. Inventories is classified into A or higher value items, B or medium cost items, and C or lowest cost items. Control may be exercised on these items as follows. First is A items. A items is a higher possible controls, including most complete, accurate record, regular reviews by the top supervisor, blanket orders with frequent deliveries from the vendor, close follow-up through the factory deliveries from vendor, close follow-up through the factor or reduced lead item, or etc. Careful, accurate determination or order to quantities and order point with frequent review to reduce if possible. And second, B items. B items is a normal controls involving good record and regular attention, good analysis for EOQ and order point, but reviewed quarterly only or with major changes occur. And lastly is C items. C items is simply as possible controls such as periodic review or physical inventory with no records or only the simplest notations that replenishment stock have been ordered. No EOQ or order to point calculations.